Hey, what's up everybody, Retro Gaming Guy here. So about a week ago, I did a video talking about how I want you guys to send me questions, and I do like a Q&A sort of deal here. So I got a bunch of questions, and I can't address all of them here in this video, but I'm going to address about 10 or so, and then I will do another video addressing additional ones, and then there's some that are really in-depth, and I want to do videos specific, addressing those specific questions in depth with either a tutorial or just, a unlimited amount of time to, fully dive into the question. So we're going to kick everything off with Brian's question. And sorry, my chair is squeaking today. Try not to move too much. So this is the crypto question. So this one I'm going to answer last just because not everybody's going to be interested in this one. It's not necessarily gaming related, but I'll read it first. Brian's question. This was literally the first one. This one came in like 2 minutes after I did. I don't even think the video had ended before Brian sent this one in. So definitely want to address it. You mentioned crypto in your last video, and this was the video where I was asking you guys to ask me questions. Do you think the crypto market is going to recover? If so, do you believe in cryptocurrencies? Yes, I do believe in cryptocurrencies, but I'm going to go into depth with you guys on that one. So I'll do that one last. Second question, Tom, what is the best emulation platform? This is a great question. I've talked about RetroPie versus Botacera before. I should do a part 2 to that video because I'm much more acquainted with both of them at this point. That was probably over a year ago. Yeah, probably even more than that. I love Botacera. Botacera is my go-to emulation platform, but it really depends on what you're diving into emulation with. Are you using a single board computer? Are you using a mini PC, gaming PC, regular PC, older PC? It really does matter what you're using, what your build entails, because there's strengths and weaknesses to each platform. But Botacera to me is the most user-friendly. It has the most settings, adjustments, options, easy, just in general easier to navigate, and better performance and customize games and performances there. So that's my go-to. In my opinion, that is the best one. RetroPie is not user-friendly. It's tough to use, and that's really why I started this channel. I started with RetroPie. That's how I got into emulation, and as I figured stuff out, I would do a video addressing how I did it, because I'm not I'm pretty well versed in this stuff now, but I wasn't well versed at the time, so I would figure everything out by trial and error. I would corrupt a massive amount I would corrupt a massive amount of SD cards at a time, just figuring stuff out with RetroPie. I can't even tell you how many builds I blew through and didn't have backed up because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and there wasn't a lot of video tutorials on how to do stuff at that time. That's what made me start the channel, and I think that's how I probably got most of you guys here watching these videos. So yeah, Botacera over RetroPie in my opinion and in my experience. Next question, Abby, how many tattoos do you have? So I only included this question because a buddy of mine, when I said I was doing this video, said you're going to get tattoo questions. So to prove him right, I'm addressing this from Abby. How many tattoos do you have? A lot. I have quite a few. I have, my right arm is completely covered, left arm is mostly covered, chest is covered. I have, yeah, some small ones throughout my body. Hands, both of my hands, my fingers, yeah, a lot. Probably sat for like less sessions than most people think, given how many I have, but yeah, quite a bit. I don't have an exact count, but I would say probably less than people would think because they're relatively big in size, but yeah, quite a few. Sometimes I tell people one though, just to see their reaction. Next question. Why is PS2 emulation on handhelds improving? Oh, sorry. Why isn't PS2 emulation on handhelds improving more drastically? Is it emulators or solely weak hardware? This is one of the questions I want to do a full-length video on, but to address it kind of quickly, it's kind of a combination of the two. I think the emulators are good, but they're demanding. They require a lot from the system or setup that you're using. So handhelds are tough because cooling, for one, isn't great on most handhelds, and cooling is often overlooked with emulation. You need really effective and efficient cooling, but you need power too, and power can be limited. CPUs limited with handhelds as well. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a combination of the two, honestly. But even on full PCs, a lot of times you have to go into your settings for PS2 in the emulator and make adjustments. I've run into that a lot recently when trying out older PCs that people could use for retro video game emulation, and PS2 is just always like a hiccup in that, unless you have a gaming PC or really powerful mini PC, then you can just jump into those games without doing any settings adjustments and be off playing without any issues. But yeah, usually there's some issues with PS2 emulation. It's just one of those collections where it's really demanding. So I will dive into that more in depth. Next question, what is your favorite retro game console and controller? So I assume that means like combo deals, like console with controller. So like collectively together, that's a good question. Probably Dreamcast, Sega Dreamcast. Especially now, I'm obviously an adult, but when I was a kid and Dreamcast came out, my hands fit that controller like perfectly, the way that it would like wrap around and you could like cup the back of it. You would just have a great grip on it. The triggers lined up perfectly, the buttons, everything. And I think it was ahead of its time too. I think it's what eventually became the Xbox controller. If you look at the two, they're very similar. So yeah, I think Dreamcast. Trying to think what else. GameCube was controller I liked a lot at the time. Now I actually got one for Batocera emulation, and I've been programming games to play off of that GameCube. It's a Bluetooth GameCube controller here. I always liked that one, and now that I'm older, it's a little bit small for me. But GameCube is a close second. I liked that one too, and it was unique. It was unlike any other controller out there. A lot of people like N64's controller. I hated N64's controller. I know that's not a popular thing to say, but I hated the N64 controller. Even now, I have, where is it? I think let me get it. This is what I use for N64 gaming on the original console. And you can see, let me grab the other end, balancing the computer on my lap too. The end here is the N64 console connection. This is what I use because I just hate that, original N64 controller. So definitely not N64 to answer that question. Next question, what is the most underrated game console? I got to readjust, so it's going to squeak. What is the most underrated game console? Same answer, Dreamcast. I think Sega Dreamcast was the least popular of the three for that time. So it was N64, and this is my interpretation of the popularity of the three. N64, PlayStation, Dreamcast, in that order. I always loved Dreamcast. I thought that the graphics there were way better than the other twos. And there were a lot of arcade games that were released by Sega for Dreamcast as well. So my favorite game of all time is Gauntlet Legends, and that was released on N64, PlayStation, and Dreamcast. And Dreamcast was the only one that had comparable graphics to the original arcade cabinet, which is what I played it on the majority of the time. So that was really the reason that I got into Dreamcast right there. But there's other games too, like Hydro Thunder was released on, I think, all three. And the graphics were so much better on Dreamcast. And then a lot of the Sega arcade sports games were released on Dreamcast. Virtua Tennis is one of them. And it just found the graphics to be so much better over there. Plus the controller was awesome, so I like that. But Dreamcast has definitely become really popular now, all these years later with emulation. It's one of the most popular emulation emulation collections out there. So, it's cool to see that it, has circled back and grown in popularity over the years. It's kind of like those cult classics that, kind of flop out of the gate and then just get bigger and bigger as time goes on. So it's cool to see. Next question, is Raspberry Pi dead forever? This is such a great question, and I might actually use that I'm going to do a full video addressing this, and maybe that's what I title it, because that's such a good question. I've been doing kind of update videos on the status of the Raspberry Pi situation over the last 2 years when they started to run into the shortage, and now it's blown out of proportion. It's such a crazy situation where the biggest plus to Raspberry Pi single board computers was the price point, I think, early on. 4 GB RAM, Raspberry Pi 4, $55 out of the gate. Now that's become $200, $175 right now. It's crazy. And some countries it's even more than that. It just depends on what's available. So yeah, it's crazy. And to address that, I have to really give all the information that's available on that and really give my opinion on that. But to quickly address it, maybe it might be dead. I'm going to do a full-length video. I'll try to do that in the next couple days, so it comes out next week. But yeah, not much has come out from Raspberry Pi Foundation over the last few months. They've been really, really suspiciously quiet, which is unfortunate. Rooting for them. I like their products. I think that the price point was great, but when you eliminate that price point, there's a lot of issues there. The capabilities are limited for emulation game. Obviously, Raspberry Pis are not used entirely for emulation gaming, but a lot of people do use them for that, and especially after the pandemic and during the pandemic, they had that massive spike in sales, mainly because of emulation gaming. People were figuring out that you can buy this $55 single board computer and get thousands and thousands of retro video games on it, and they just blew up. Tons and tons of sales that year. I forget what the numbers were, but it was insane. And then fast forward to now, you can't even get one for without spending an absolute fortune. So I'm going to do a full-length video on this. Hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on future videos, and you'll see that, because I think it's going to be a great video. I think that it's going to answer a lot of questions and give a fairly unique perspective on what's kind of at hand there and what could happen or what potentially is happening right now. So I'll move on for now, but that's yeah, maybe it could be dead. So next question: what is the hardest part of doing YouTube videos? What do you like best? So it's not hard to sit here and babble in front of a camera. I mean, it is initially, but you get used to it. Editing takes time, but it's not particularly hard, and I'm not doing like advanced videos. For the most part, it's me showing you guys stuff and tutorials, so it's minimal edits as long as I don't make a lot of stupid mistakes. Probably time management, and that's not necessarily just channel related or video related, but I keep a log of like different ideas that I have, and I write them down so I don't forget what I want to do for videos. And sometimes I get caught up in it and I get so excited about doing them that I film a bunch of them, and then I end up with 10 videos that I have to edit, and I always want to put out more and more stuff here on the channel. So I think I kind of create my own issues with time management and like biting off more than I can chew. Plus I have 3 kids, I have 3 dogs, a wife, I have work, businesses, stuff like that. So a lot on my plate at all times, and sometimes managing everything is tough for me, and not getting enough sleep is tough for me. It's 4 in the morning right now as I'm filming this, so I keep a really bizarre schedule. I sleep when I need to sleep, but yeah, time management is probably the hardest part. And what do I like best? Interacting with everybody that watches the videos and hearing like I don't get a lot of hate on here, knock on wood, but hearing positive experiences from people as a result of watching the videos. So like mainly tutorial videos, or like the review video that helps somebody decide whether or not something is for them or not, or whether they should invest in a certain product. But the tutorial videos are really where people really seem to have good experiences from the channel, because RetroPie, as I said, is a tough emulation platform to navigate. So a lot of people experience issues and they can't figure out the solution. So when I do a tutorial video that helps them, they're super grateful, and I get a ton of really positive messages every day. So that's awesome. That's definitely hands down the best part. And then interacting with people. I've built friendships through this channel and talked to people all over the world. I have a ton of people in Australia that watch the channel, and that's so cool. To interact with people that you would, under any other circumstances, would never be able to interact with. A lot of people in Germany, a lot of people in the UK, where else? Italy, Spain. A lot of really, just a lot of people in these countries that watch these videos. So it's just really interesting to be able to talk to people all over the world through, you know, tutorial videos. It's kind of crazy. But I've met really great people. One of my closest friends right now I met through this channel. My buddy Jose, he watched videos on here a year and a half ago. He was experiencing issues with his arcade cabinet that was powered by a Raspberry Pi, and asked me for advice on how to fix something, and we started talking. Ended up on FaceTime showing him what he needed to do, and found out that he lives 20 minutes down the road from me. So he's one of my closest friends now. I've talked to the dude like every single day almost. So you know, stuff like that is just really cool to be able to experience through, you know, freaking gaming videos. You know, it's crazy, but in an awesome way. So next question: are cheat codes available in emulators? Yes, the majority of them are. Some, I should do a video on this actually, but some you have to set up through RetroArch. Some you have to, you know, some that are like the button combinations on your controller you can do as soon as you load up a game and they'll work. I've done some videos on N64 emulators, actually from my buddy Jose, who I was just talking about. Showed me one for Ken Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest, where you can hit a home run with Ken Griffey Jr. anytime you want. And that one is a button, I forget what the combination is, but it's a button combination that you input in, and then you can hit that dinger as long as you can hit the ball, which is my biggest issue in that game. But you'll hit, as long as you connect with the ball, you'll hit a home run. And then there's one for like Contra, I forget the combination there. I should do a video on that too, but I'll write these down. Yeah, a lot of those button combination ones you could do right off the bat as soon as you load into the game. So yes, cheat codes are available on emulators and emulation in general. Last question here before I loop back to the first one. I recently found your channel and have binge watched literally hundreds of videos. Why don't you have more subscribers? I don't get it. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Good question. I mean, I guess you guys aren't hitting the subscribe button, so hit the subscribe button right now. But no, YouTube's a long, slow grind. I was watching a interview with Mr. Beast and Joe Rogan recently, and Mr. Beast, who is one of the biggest YouTubers out there, he was talking about how he spent literally years just doing videos and getting no traction, and you know, just kept at it, and now he's grown to, I think he's like top 3, top 4, or definitely top 5 biggest YouTubers. So it's a slow grind. You know, there's a lot of channels out there that do what I do. I don't think there's that many that do like all the tutorial videos in depth like I do them, but you know, ETA Prime has been around for over 10 years. He's got almost 1 million subscribers, right? Or maybe he's at 1 million subscribers, but it's taken him, you know, well over 10 years to get that far, and he does amazing content, great stuff. I'm sure you guys follow ETA Prime too. If you don't, you should. So yeah, it's a slow grind, and some videos get you a ton of subscribers, some don't get you any, some get thousands of views, some get 50 views, and I just put out content that appeals to me. It's stuff that I want to see, stuff that I want to make videos on, and you know, if it's a hit, it's a hit, and if it's not, it's not. It's not something I really dwell on or think about. I don't have this like master plan of how to get to 1 million subscribers. I'm just putting out video content that I think has some value or is going to help somebody, and I don't care if it helps one person or 1,000 people or 1 million people. You know, it is what it is. It's just going to do what it does. So yeah, I mean, help me out. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. The likes help because then YouTube sees that people are getting a positive experience from the videos, and then they push them higher up. So if you watch my videos, hit the little thumbs up, and you know, that'll help grow things. But yeah, it's a slow grind. I think I got just under 13,000 subscribers right now. It'll be 2 years end of November, so it's coming up on 2 years. I mean, it's not a massive amount of subscribers, but you know, I think I've got, I don't know how many views, but definitely over 1 million views collectively over, you know, 700 videos, so it's not that impressive, but it's getting there little by little. So next question, I'm going to loop back up to the first one again from Brian. So this is the crypto question. If you're not into crypto, then you can hit that little X over there in the corner over one of these directions. You know, I'll catch you on the next video. But if you're interested in crypto, then His question was, you mentioned crypto in your last video. Do you think that the crypto market is going to recover? And if so, do you still believe in cryptocurrencies? I do believe in cryptocurrencies. I do believe it's not only going to recover, I think it's going to far exceed what we've seen, in previous heights of coins and stuff like that. So crypto, I think, has gotten a bad rap, obviously from Bitcoin and Silk Road and all that stuff early on. I think we've gotten past that. Now it's gotten a bad rap because a lot of people came into crypto in 2020 and it was a crazy time. As I mentioned before, we were in a pandemic. We were not working. We were at home looking for something to do, looking for something. Maybe if we were getting our checks from the government, maybe we could find something to put our $1,300 in and make money on. And a lot of people did with cryptocurrencies. People like Elon Musk were tweeting out coins to invest in, and him especially was making vague sort of references to Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano or the crazy friggin' dog coin one that he was hyping up for a while there. And people invested in it, and a lot of people invested in them, and it seemed like every day, it didn't matter what you invested in, you were making money. If you invested in Ethereum, you were seeing gains each day, and we were consistently seeing green. Not every single day, but it was rapidly going like this. And people just thought it was never going to end. And eventually it did. And we saw the correction, and it was significant and it was quick. When I invested in crypto, it was end of 2018. I think the first price I paid for Ethereum was, I think it was $165. No, maybe it was $135, something like that. Now it's at $1,625 right now, I think, something like that. So massive gains there in that, time frame, but that's several years, about 4 years. And then it did flash crash at one point, and it dropped down to $70. And I bought a bunch of Ethereum at 70. I think it was 7. I started at 70, and it was going back up, and majority was paid for at $75. So at this point, I really can't complain because it's just up to a massive amount of money. But my portfolio is worth half of what it was worth a year ago. And we're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars less. So I get it when people say that they're frustrated or, they have bad taste in their mouth with cryptocurrencies. But I think that the expectations of people is the real issue there. Crypto is a risky investment. If you're investing in crypto, you have to be there for the long haul. Yes, people can, kind of day trade with it. But nobody knows what's going to happen day by day. And if people say they know that's it's what's going to happen tomorrow, or this coin is going to go up on this day, they're full of it. Run away from these people, because nobody knows. You might have an idea that over time or over the next week or two it's going to play out a certain way, but nobody has a guaranteed prediction of exactly what's going to happen. So we have to kind of just know that it's a risky investment and be prepared to stay there for the long haul. If I was day trading it and trying to just guess, that would be gambling, and I would have made nothing. The only gains that I've gotten is because I just let it sit and I didn't touch it for a long period of time. And eventually, when it was at its height, I actually bought a car with crypto, but it's not something that I intended to do. It's just, I figured this has gone up so long, it's going to crash at some point. Let me, take some money out. So right now, if it crashed, I wouldn't be out any money because I've already taken out more than I put in. But again, if you bought in 2020 or 2021 or recently and you're seeing negative, red on your investments, then you kind of have to just ride it out at this point. But for me, I just buy little by little, buy the dips, and, don't think about it too much. If you can put it out of your mind and just keep it as think of it as like a retirement fund or like a 401k or a long-term investment, that you're not going to touch for 10 years. I think you're going to be in a good situation if you can wait 10 years on it. But if you're trying to make money quick, get out. Don't, you're going to run into problems, I think. So that's my take on it. This is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. I was asked a question, I'm trying to answer it. But what I most like about it is not necessarily the way that you're storing value or the payment side of things. I like blockchain, and I like blockchain technology, and I also like the smart contract side of things. So because of that, I'm mostly interested in Ethereum and Cardano, not so much Bitcoin itself. I have held Bitcoin. I don't hold Bitcoin currently, but yeah, that's mostly what I'm into. And now crypto gaming or blockchain gaming is becoming a really interesting thing. There's a lot of awesome projects in the works right now, and I think that's really going to kind of disrupt things with gaming. I think we're going to see a lot of that in the next 10-15 years. So yeah, I'm a believer, to say the least. And I'm actually going to be doing a video, I think next week, on Illuvium. I don't know if anybody's heard of Illuvium, but it's a new game that's being developed, and it's going to be decentralized, and there's just so many really cool things going on with that project that I'm really interested in. So I'm going to do a video kind of just showing how you can get involved in buying land for that, because it's a kind of a metaverse sort of game. It's a lot of moving parts there. It's basically Fortnite meets Pokemon is my interpretation of my best way of explaining what it entails. There's a lot of different gaming aspects to it, but really cool project. So if you haven't checked that out, check out Illuvium. Just YouTube it. There's tons of videos out there, and it's really interesting stuff. But yeah, that ties into that whole blockchain technology and crypto sort of angle. So yeah, that's my take on that. Again, not investment advice, not at all. So just answering the question and giving my opinion and my experience on crypto and blockchain and all that stuff. So in the future, I'll try to keep it just gaming on here. Again, I've been in crypto for a long time and never mentioned it here on the channel. So I know people have seen, like, I have hoodies and stuff that say Bitcoin or Ethereum on them. But so people have talked to me about this stuff through email and comments and stuff like that. But yeah, not something I really talk about much on the channel. But yeah, if you have questions, hit me up. Always happy to talk crypto if you can't tell. But that's going to do it for today. Again, if I didn't answer your questions, stay tuned for a future Q&A sort of video. And then I'm going to do those full-length videos as well. And there's a few others that I didn't address on here just because I'm dealing with time restraints. But yeah, definitely want to address those in a full-length video. The Raspberry Pi one and PS2 emulation one especially. So thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up on the video. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.